right? If you wrote it down, it's basically leaving too many things open to interpretation. They need better definitions. That is the reason the definitions are weak, hence they're doing that.
Thank you. Aswad?
When the word includes is not something new. This has been used in the laws for 200 years now. And the courts also interprets it in a very specific way. They don't say that there's anything under the sun. And when they define word includes, they define only in line with the rest of the words.
Sorry. Are you saying we should use it or not?
We should use it unless we are 100% sure that we are not going to leave anything out for the next 100 years.
Well, the point is, the thing is that these are complex topics and follow-up legislation can come defining this. This is a field where technology is advancing so much, forget 100 years, 4 years is a lifetime. And we keep, but anyway, Zalimi, go ahead, your comment.
Between when you draft a criminal law and when you draft a civil law. When it comes to the electronic transaction ordinance or any civil law, in fact, the language that we picked up, the word includes, has been used in the electronic transaction ordinance also. But it doesn't say include, but it's not limited to, first of all. We must remember that that basically is a civil legislation to model UN की legislation है. But when you deal with the criminal legislation, you cannot, and never has been ever found, ever, and I can repeat the state, कोई criminal law is limited, including but not limited to, use your law department institution, number one. Number two, it is much more worse than what is being discussed here, not कि electrical, the electronic की definition, including but not limited to डाल दिया गया, but not limited to डाल दिया गया. I agree with Alwar to one extent that in the definition of electronic things is a simplistic. Maybe the word includes can be added in that sense, but limited to obviously not. It's not part of the legislative language. Number one. Number two, when you look at the rest of the legislation, and I want to point out the point made by Ovesh right now, which is absolutely correct. When you define cyber terrorism, you don't define terroristic acts and terroristic intent by saying this is include but not limited to, because criminal law says that you should know exactly what is or is not a crime. So when you look at explanation 2 of the new bill, you will note that it says terroristic act includes but is not limited to A, B, C, D. So what's the point of having A, B, C, D there if it's going to be including but not limited to? And that opens up a journey that the offense becomes much larger. And this is not how anywhere else in the world criminal offenses are defined either.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ashok Kumari. Okay, sounds good. So, I mean, on each point, we can say there is agreement or there is disagreement. आप agree करें या disagree करें? Cyber, the definition of cyber terrorism.
So can I intervene and say
जी, बताइए सर.
The process that we are following here with due apology, the process that is following, we're jumping through definitions and sections and back and forth. What I again would like to say, and I know maybe we'll have to do this for a little while, but what we should be discussing is a higher purpose and higher issue, macro issue. And so this legislation does not comply with the Council of Europe Convention, or with the laws of the US or the UK, or with other legislation around the region.
सर, तो आपने शुरू में 2 पॉइंट रेज किए थे. पहले अनवर साहब ने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक की डेफिनेशन, because that is the name of the act. आपने रेज किया the compliance with cyber crime convention, and you raised the definition of cyber terrorism. That is why we were discussing this. But okay, now let's go to the okay, Budapest. Go ahead. Anwar Saab, go ahead.
Before going to the Budapest Convention and its background, its relevance with our law, we have to see in which category does this law fall. It is a penal law or criminal law. It defines some crimes and their punishment simply. It is not a law for the promotion of business or increase our exports. It defines prosecution agencies, which is FIA. It defines reciprocal relations for international cooperation, for prosecution of criminals. It adopts detailed and elaborative procedure of investigation already present in CRPC. If you see the Convention of Europe 2001, which is also known as Budapest Convention, it is divided into 3 parts. Primarily, it is a guideline for legislating any cyber crime laws for any country of Europe. It divides in three parts. One, that law should have some definition of crimes, their punishments. It should have some provision of international cooperation, and it should have some provisions for investigation, according to each one their own jurisdictions. So, primarily these three things are present in this law, and we did analyze cyber Budapest Convention before drafting this law many times. What was the prime consideration? Which crimes are to be included in this law? It has to be conformed with the existing legal system of Pakistan. It has to be in conformity with Constitution of Pakistan. It has to be in conformity with international commitments of Pakistan. First, I would like to ask just a simple question, but then I will come to the legal condition. Is there in mind of any of the members present here, is there any cyber crime which is missing out from this legislation? I think so. Because this is the prime.
Did you want to answer that question?
Yeah, Zach, go ahead. Is there any class of cybercrime missing
No,
from
not
this?
class.
There is several of those non-cyber crimes, but the thing is what he's talking about is electronic crime. Electronic crime includes a lot more than the cyber crime. That is why there is a big problem between electronic and cyber. Computer-related or cyber crimes are one thing, and when you say electronic crime, it includes a whole bunch of other things. And that's basically what my comment was about electronic device. Now, electronic no, like design comments, electronic is a lot. That's what my point was basically regarding that. It was not just the definition of electronic transactions, also the word electronic. Moving beyond that now, with regard to the cybercrime convention, one thing I just wanted to get clarification. So the intent is this is something I want to get clarified, is that after having looked at the cybercrime convention, the definition of illegal access, the definition of all the other definitions of offenses which have not been followed, that needs to be a deliberate demarcation away from that. Is that we have to be told?
Zaid, उस पे आते हैं, but first of all, could you, बिल्कुल we'll come to your question, but first of all, if you could answer the question posed right now, which is there any type of cybercrime or class of cybercrime which has been excluded from this bill?
The phishing is excluded. Identity theft is not completely there. There's a lot of whole section of these cybercrimes that we just
Okay, phishing or identity crime insufficiently covered.
यूजर साहब सॉरी to इंटरजेक्ट, बट देखिए अगर वो आप पहले क्वेश्चन आंसर कर देंगे ना जो जाहिद रेज कर रहे हैं,
उस पे
तो वो पहले आंसर करेंगे ना तो ये सब खुद ही हल हो जाएंगे.
नहीं, मेरे ख्याल में ऐसे हम chronologically जा रहे हैं. We got to respect all parties here. We got to take it. We'll come to that question as well. Asha, so there's a host of questions. That answers your question? No.
Primarily.
Then Article 10, each one of them answers now. Article 10 of the cybercrime basically talks about IPR and cybercrime related to intellectual property rights. वो क्यों नहीं excluded?
Sorry, say that again. Article 10 of
Article 10 of the convention, जिसकी अभी reference दी जा रही थी, उसके अंदर ये है offenses related to infringement of copyright and related rights, IPR.
अच्छा, मैं समझ गया. Now, okay, so you've answered the question and you've given us three specific examples. Now, can you pose your question again?
My question basically is that it is from what I understand, the cybercrime convention has actually been read extensively by the ministry and assessed. So does that mean that, just want to get a straightforward answer on this, that there is a definite decision to move away from the cybercrime convention definitions of illegal access, data interference, and the requirement, the mandatory requirement of Article 15 and 14 that safeguard be put into place so that the benefit review.
So, sorry. Yeah.
What is Budapest Convention? Is it binding on Pakistan?
No.
So, which means government of Pakistan